This Rev 3 Games preview is brought to you by GoDaddy. Hey guys, Terry here, and today I'm going to be talking about Watch Dogs, which I had the chance to get around 4 hours of hands-on time with recently. We played the first mission, which is around an hour and a half, and then we just sort of roamed the city for a few hours. So I have a pretty good sense of the game and the whole setting. It is set in Chicago in the near future, and you play as Aiden Pierce, who is a hacker. He's kind of described as the best at what he does, but he's also made a lot of mistakes in his past and gotten involved with the wrong kind of people. And the only real connection to reality that he has is his sister.
Okay, we got a bunch of dead bodies, right? We got 40,000 people above us. We need a distraction.
They reveal very early on in the game that his niece, Lena, was killed by his enemies, and he's sort of haunted by this throughout the game, and they're continuing to threaten Aiden's sister and her family. So the whole plot of the game revolves around his sort of revenge plan to take down the people who killed his niece. Naturally, there is a lot of espionage, and the futuristic setting also means that you're going to be doing a lot of hacking. All of Chicago in this game is controlled by CTOS, which is kind of an electronic infrastructure, and Aiden can hack into that infrastructure and use it to spy on people and gain intel for whatever he needs to do. He hacks into stuff using the profiler, which is also how he's able to just sort of access anyone's personal information on the street. That comes in really handy for side quests. But the layout of the city seems to follow the sort of general formula that a lot of Ubisoft games have taken recently, like Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, where certain points in the city are controlled by things, and as soon as you take down those things, you'll have access to the city. So in this case, for Watch Dogs, certain points of the city are controlled by CTOS towers. So he has to hack into them in order to gain access to them, and then that unlocks certain areas of the map and opens up new side quests. The rest of the game does employ a lot more strategy, I think. There are basically 4 different kinds of side quests you can do. There are things called gang hideouts, where the game might ask you to perform a non-lethal takedown of a gang leader, and in those cases you will be involved in a lot of combat. There are also fixer contracts, where that might ask you to steal a vehicle and then lose your pursuers. A lot harder than it looks, by the way. They also have criminal convoys, where you can kill or target a criminal convoy and then steal all the crap that's inside. And then they have crime detection, which is really interesting. This is sort of a spontaneous quest that pops up throughout the game. So you'll get a little notification in the bottom corner of your screen that'll say, CTOS has detected a potential crime happening near you. But again, there is so much stuff going on in this game that any given second, there's like a million activities you can do. There are investigations, so you can hunt down missing people, and that'll unlock a special quest for you. There are QR codes all around the city that you can scan, and finding all of those will unlock a quest for you. Tons of collectibles, mini games. One of the coolest things we actually did during our whole playthrough were these things called digital trips. So people on the street will offer you a digital trip in exchange for a lot of money. They're quite expensive. The one that I did was called Spider Tank, and you literally are transported into a virtual world, and each world has its own theme. So mine was giant robotic spiders. So you control a huge robotic spider tank and basically try to destroy the city as much as you can in a certain amount of time. It's totally destructive and awesome and amazing, and you gain XP for doing all of that, and there's a whole separate skill point system. It's actually a lot more involved than they let on at first. So that was one of my favorite things. Speaking of skill trees, there are a lot of them. They're sort of divided up into driving, hacking, combat, and then crafted items. Aiden also has this focus ability, which is kind of like bullet time, and it also works while he's driving, which is really cool. Other skills that you might get, there's a jam comms skill, so you can jam phone calls or nearby police scanners, which allow you to evade the police a lot easier. There's actually a lot of driving sequences in the game, which I found to be the part that seemed to employ the most strategy in them. These are without a doubt the most satisfying parts of the game, and definitely something I think everyone's going to enjoy, even if they're not super into driving segments in games. Other things that I really, really liked about Watch Dogs based on my 4 hours of hands-on time, I thought the voice acting was surprisingly good. One of the characters, Jordy Chin, who plays this kind of like bad guy, one of the gangsters you're supposed to be fighting against, amazing voice acting.
So, cops arrive, and Maurice's little band of brothers arrive, and pow, 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 pow.
And the environments, of course. The city of Chicago is extremely detailed, lots of stuff to do, and even aside from the city itself, the amount of people and their backstories that you're able to just hack into willy-nilly is really interesting. I also find it strange that a lot of the quests seem to encourage violent or illegal acts, and then the other half of them seem to discourage them. There's kind of a level of disconnect present where the game will ask you to stop a petty crime happening on the street and then steal a police convoy 5 minutes later. So I'm curious to see if there is some kind of morality in the game and maybe your character isn't so great after all. I don't know. These are just my general thoughts on the game. Overall, I had fun with it. I think the setting is the best part of the game. I'm still a little bit divided on the quests. I feel like half of them are really good and half of them are also kind of dull. But I do think that most of the fun of the game is going to be sort of eschewing the quests and just exploring around the city and seeing what kind of trouble you can get into, which is always the great part about games like this. So Watch Dogs is coming out May 27th, guys, on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, and PC. There is also a Wii U port that is supposed to happen sometime later this year. So yeah, if you're excited about this, let us know, and I guess we'll see in a month how the full game turns out. If you're looking to start a website but don't know exactly where to begin, why not check out GoDaddy? GoDaddy has everything you need to put your business online, find new customers, and kick ass. Get started by registering a domain name and creating your website with GoDaddy's easy-to-use website builder. Already have a site? Keep it running fast with GoDaddy Web Hosting. Sign up at GoDaddy.com today, and if you use the code GAMES295, we will get you your first .com domain for only $2.95. Some limitations do apply, so see the website for details.